So I'm going to share my screen. Alrighty, can you guys see this presentation? Sweet, thank you. Alright guys, so thank you for being here. My name is Clayton, and I'm going to be talking about the art of diplomacy. I do like my subtitle quite a bit. It really kind of describes what we're going to be doing. And I am excited to show you guys all how you can use diplomatic tact to build relationships and trust with people, to be a better negotiator, and to lead by referent power, which are all really good, helpful things. So, some definitions to get us started. I really like this definition of diplomacy right here. I got it off the web. And, oh, hello. It says diplomacy is the art of advancing an idea or cause without unnecessarily inflaming passions or unleashing a catastrophe. And while I think this is a really good definition of diplomacy, I don't think it's entirely all encompassing of what diplomacy is. So I've got my own definition of diplomacy right here that I wrote, and it's that diplomacy is the intentional use of body language, speech, and tone to make others feel valued, understood, and as if they're speaking with a friend. So it's kind of funny, actually, the history of diplomacy goes way back to civilizations thousands of years ago, back when kings ruled the world, and kings would get into tense situations, conflicts with other kings and nations. And what would happen is diplomats who represented the kings would go and they would meet together and they would talk things out. Um, and a lot of conflicts could get resolved that way. Whereas if the kings were to meet directly with each other, they would escalate things, and you could have nations going to war. So the diplomat was able to really calm things down and just negotiate and settle things. And we still have diplomats today. That's what an ambassador is at an embassy. And I think that diplomacy is a very, very good skill for every single person to learn. Learning how to deal with people is so important unless you plan on moving to the woods by yourself for the rest of your life. You're gonna need people skills. And so it's a good thing. Referent power down here, I referenced it in the subtitle, so I'll give a definition. It is the ability to cultivate admiration, trust, and respect from others. So the referent leader relies less on command and is able to maintain control through respect. I'm sure we can all think of many examples in our own lives or in fiction or popular people that everybody knows about. You can think of examples of people who rule just with kind of authority, and they just abuse power and kind of have to desperately hold on to that power. Whereas I'm sure we can also think of lots of people who are just deeply respected and influential because of their wisdom and reputation. And they don't really have to try to hold on to power. They just have influence. And so it's not always wrong to take the stance of I'm the boss, you need to listen to me, I'm the parent, you need to listen to me, etc., etc. But let's be realistic. If you could gain respect, trust, and admiration from others, you could lead so much more effectively than you can with desperately trying to hang on to your authority. So how do we actually do this? How do we use diplomatic tact? Before we get into this, I'd like to do an activity with you guys. So I'm going to give you guys a scenario, and then I'll have you write something in the chat or shout it out. So imagine that some family conflict occurs. Your parents, your spouse, your sibling, whoever, they tell you that you must not appreciate them, that they're disappointed in you, and that you are really hurting them, etc. I want you guys to tell me, what are you focusing on in those conversations? Do you pay attention to your tone, your body language, and your speech? How do you handle that situation? Are you aware of these things? Um, yeah, just let me know.
This is a pretty can be so different but everyone's like upbringing. I mean, mine from when I was little, I would just try not to get hit. So
Mm.
I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. But yeah, I think that would create me. I wouldn't even try to be confrontational. I just go to my room. So I don't know if anybody else is on the same page. But that's my form of being diplomatic when talking to like siblings or parents or
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I can relate to that. This is Sharina, and thank you for posing the question. Because when emotions are high, you tend to just go with that emotion, and then the tone raises up and all that, and it's hard to be aware of how you're actually treating or responding to the person that you're having the strong emotions with. So yeah, and relate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I wrote in the chat, but I'll come out here too. You know, I automatically think of all the ways that they're wrong in their assumptions and their evaluation of the situation.
Mhm. Yeah, well, we'll get into that, but maybe that's not the best. Let's see. Let's see if I can see the chat. What did you guys say? Try to be open-minded, but I tend to be defensive. It is a work in progress from my upbringing too. Thanks, Jen. Amy, I see your comment. Sandra, I'm usually reactive and defensive, so I don't pay attention to tone or body language in the moment. Yeah, thanks for your honesty, everyone. Let's move on to how to be diplomatic and see if we can get those answers to change a little bit. So, some details on diplomacy. Learn as fast as you can your audience. Speak in ways that are best suited for whoever you are listening to. Everyone's a little different. Try and pick up on those differences and cater towards them. Be self-controlled. Don't be angry or rude or upset. Be calm and restrain yourself. Be apologetic, be friendly, be agreeable. It is really hard to be mad at someone who is quick to apologize, eager to agree, and showcases how much they care. Body language. Showcase that you're interested, showcase that you care, lean in, use eye contact. Make sure that you're looking at them. If you're not looking at them, a lot of people are going to think that's rude. Same with tone. You have to be aware of your tone, and you know, a lot of people I think know what tone that you actually should use. They just don't pay attention enough to use it. So you know how to sound rude, you know how to sound polite, you know how to sound a variety of ways, but are you actually paying attention to how you sound and making sure that it's not rude? Um, just pay attention to that. Also, time things appropriately. I'm sure that all of you probably have been in romantic relationships, for example, and you know that there's certain times where you just shouldn't bring things up. Like, don't set yourself up for failure from the get-go by starting and initiating conflict when tension is already high. Why not start yourself up for success by making sure that you're in a good environment and a good situation to deal with any sort of conflict. Also, be generous in your assumptions of people. I think a lot of the times we immediately all tend to just assume that everyone had malicious intent towards us and they just were out to get us. And what that creates is, one, you are angry at them when maybe you really even shouldn't be angry at them because you think they were just out to get you. And then it's hard to control your emotions. And also, if you just outright accuse them of their alleged maliciousness and they weren't trying to be malicious at all, now they're going to be upset at you because you judged them wrongly, and it's just going to create a lot of conflict. So if you could just be generous in your assumptions of people, I think it would serve you really well. And then my next point is try to deliver what people want, obviously within reason, but everyone wants something. You guys want good grades. That's why you're here right now. Um, if you sense that your friend doesn't feel appreciated, well, they want to be appreciated. Why can't you deliver what they want? If you sense that your coworker wants an apology, can you just humble yourself and apologize? This leads me to my next point of compromise. You can't just be obnoxious and stubborn and rude and never willing to compromise, or you're just not going to be a good diplomat. That's not how we negotiate. It's not all about you, and you can't make it all about you, or you cannot be a good diplomat. So to summarize, be winsome, be charitable, make friends, build trust in relationships, gain respect, and you will go a long ways. Does anyone have any questions about what we just went over or comments?
Yeah, I think with the question that she posed, it was, well, just before the slide, it was with like a spouse or a family member. I think some of these things are even more challenging with people that are closer to us that can kind of get under our skin a little bit easier. So it can be harder with people closer to not react, to respond instead of react. But yeah, I agree that these are all very important details.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just say along this, oh, is my mic, sorry. I would just say along the same lines of Mahal that it can be difficult if somebody is close to you, but like these are definitely good tools and tips on, how to get better at it.
Yeah.
I was going to say that they'll learn your audience as fast as you can. I've been married to my husband for 23 years and somehow I always do it wrong. Like I don't bring up conflict nicely still, and I have not learned what works best. So it's a long road.
Well,
Luckily, we don't have a ton of it, so it's great. But
I can kind of relate because like you said, you already know what the hot buttons and all that. But when you're in the middle of the whole discussion, and the thing is, I think it's because I feel very comfortable with my husband that I can be myself, that I'm not trying to be conscious of my tone or anything. I'm just saying whatever I want to say because it's my husband and he's supposed to understand me because he's my husband, and vice versa, that he can say whatever he wants to me, but still I get hurt. So I totally relate. Thank you.
Is that everyone? Yeah, it seems to be. Thank you guys all for participating. So let's go back to our activity. We kind of just did a little bit, but say we take the same scenario from earlier. There's some sort of family conflict. I know you guys said before, a lot of you, that you don't really focus on things. now what are some things you're going to focus on? Hopefully, tone and not being mean and all that. But yeah, what are some things that you guys are going to work on?
I think for me, now that I heard some of your presentation, I think I'd be really mindful to use like I statements, so that when I, respond to the family member that's kind of giving me this criticism, I'm really careful to not not use the you're doing this or you're doing that, and just be really mindful of using the I statements to let them know how I feel.
Yeah, that's good. And it's great to be generous. It's a great way to be generous in your assumptions of people because you let them clarify without just accusing them. So that's good stuff.
I think that I would try to be more open-minded and kind of listen to what they're saying and not how they're saying it, and that their intentions are probably good because it's somebody that's close to me and they care about me.
Yeah.
And I think on the previous screen, you mentioned everybody wants something. So find out what they actually want rather than trying to maybe solve the problem or to defend yourself. If you find out what they want, then you can maybe make a plan to work in that direction.
Yeah, that's good.
Jen makes a good point about like positive intent and just remembering that everyone is trying to come from that background and compromise too.
Yeah, that's good.
One of the things too that you reminded me of is the book that I read a while back. It's called De-Escalate. And in 90 seconds or less, you can actually calm a person. And I've actually been employing that with my relationship with my husband, because sometimes he's just mad about something. And then basically you just say, you are mad, you are upset, you are frustrated, basically affirming the feelings that he might be feeling. So I may not be right, but I know I will be corrected. And he said, no, I'm not mad. It's just that I'm tired today, or something like that. So that's kind of easy for me to do when I am not upset. But when the two of us are upset, then that becomes the issue. So that I need to work on. When I'm upset, is be more cognizant of my tone and how and to practice what you have shared with us. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me check the chat again, but I think that was just about everyone. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to say? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So we've done a lot of discussion together, so I will just give an example from my own life here, just to drive things home. So for my job, I fix heaters and air conditioners, and I basically get to go around and tell all sorts of people who are in various financial situations that their $10,000 system is broken and they need a new one. And, people are not happy without air conditioning, especially I'm from Sacramento. It's like over 100 every single day, and people are very uncomfortable without it. So naturally, a lot of the times people are not happy with me. And so I have to really focus on winning people over and being a friend to them. I've noticed since I've started studying diplomacy that I actually have a lot of power to change things very quickly. So when someone's upset and I say, I understand that this is a difficult situation, but I'm here to help you, that makes a world of difference. Just showing that I'm there as a friend, I'm there to help. When I say things like, I'm sorry about the bad news, and they can tell that I really am sorry that they're going through what they're going through. I've just noticed that it can instantly make someone a lot less tense. It can make them smile instantly, and it can and talk someone off the ledge a little bit if they're kind of upset. So to wrap up, learning people and how to be diplomatic is a process. But if you guys take anything at all from this meeting, I want it to be that there is actual tangible skills that you can learn to become diplomatic. It's not like you were either born with people skills or not, and then that's just it. No, like even if you are not good with people at all, you can learn this and you can be an excellent diplomat. You just have to, like anything else, practice everything single day and put in the work. So here's my references, guys. Thank you so much for having this session with me. I hope you gained something valuable. And yeah, I'll just leave the floor open for any questions or comments.
I think it's really important that you told us that diplomacy is a skill that we can learn. Sometimes I feel so awkward, and it's another one of those skills, like you don't pray for patience because then God's going to give you an opportunity to be patient, like kids. But diplomacy is also a skill where it's like, oh, I can only practice this in the hard times. It's not something you could practice when it's easy. So that's interesting, but good to know.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, it's definitely a skill that, you know, like Amy said, that we could benefit from. It's obviously why it's literally a job. So, for some people, so great job.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your own story about how you employ this diplomacy at your own job, and how you really empathize with people, not versus sympathize with them with their dire situation of maybe needing a new air conditioning and $10,000 needing to replace it. So, and I think your people skills really is needed in your job, and I think you're doing a great job, and especially with presenting this to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, also I appreciated your use of referent power. I hadn't heard that phrase before, but I think it's very applicable to diplomacy, and very underrated as we see some diplomats around the world not hitting some of those three notes of respect, trust, and admiration. I think they were, but I think, yeah, that's a key phrase as it comes to diplomacy.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here. I hope that you benefited from it. And I think everyone's done sharing, so I'm going to end the meeting.
Thanks, Clayton.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.